Hey you guys, happy day to you. We are on chapter 3 for our positive parenting book club with the book How to Talk So Kids Will Listen and Listen So Kids Will Talk. I just got back from a gorgeous walk. It's beautiful outside. I don't know where you are right now, but here in Nova Scotia on the South Shore, the sun is shining and it is just absolutely beautiful. So we took advantage and went for a walk, myself and Matt and the dog, and it feels really good. That's part of one way that I support my mental health is getting some exercise in. It really helps release the endorphins and make you feel really good. So I am Haley. I am the overwhelmed mom who has struggled with parenting and utilizing different parenting techniques in the past for sure. So that's where I've created this fantastic resource for you guys. That's my hope for you, to be able to inspire you and to give you some and explore with you guys and give you some information on various techniques that we can use, because I'm literally walking this with you. I've been in your shoes. I am in your shoes. You know, I have yelled, I have felt frustrated, I have felt mom rage, I have felt anxiety with all the things. And so I have been there and still am there some days. So I love that I can just explore different techniques with you guys so that we can support each other throughout parenting, right? I think that's a big part of it. And coming from myself having a lot of childhood trauma and struggling with that right now in my life, and knowing that for my kids, I want to make a shift for them so that they don't have to experience that as well. That's where a big part of my heart is and why I bring this all to the table for you. So Chapter 3 to How to Talk So Kids Will Listen and Listen So Kids Will Talk. You can go ahead and grab the book at the link that I've posted in this video thread, or the description of this video. You can go to my website and get the link there to grab this book if you do not already have it. Or reach out to your friends. Maybe they have it and you can borrow it, or your local library may have it, that you can get it out from that. But it is a fantastic book to have in your home so that you can refer back to. As you can see here, I have lots of little notes in my book. So yeah, it's just been such a great resource. So this may be a thing that a lot of parents struggle with, is the punishment aspect of parenting. So we're going to go through kind of my golden nuggets of this. And like I said before, I like to try to keep this to 30 minutes to honor your guys' time. So let's get into it. So parents have often told us how upset they were because even after attending a session, they'd find themselves saying things to their children they didn't like. The only difference was that now they heard themselves. Actually hearing yourself represents progress. It's the first step towards making changes. I know for myself, the process of change didn't come easily. I'd hear myself using the old unhelpful ways. What's wrong with you kids? You never remembered to turn off the light in the bathroom. Then I'd get annoyed with myself. I'd resolve never to say that again. Then I'd say it again. Remorse. I'll never learn this stuff. How else could I have said that? I know. I should have said, children, the light's on in the bathroom. Or better still, kids, the light. Then I'd worry that I'd never have a chance to say it again. But I had nothing to worry about. They always left the light on in the bathroom. But the next time I was ready for them. Kids, the light. Someone ran and turned it off. Success. Then there were the times when I'd say all the right things and nothing seemed to work. The kids would either ignore me or, even worse, defy me. When that happened, there was only one thing I wanted to do: punish them. And I love this because, you guys, the fact that you're here, the fact that you're here in this group and being part of this book club is that you're aware, right? You're aware, and that is the first step to making change and taking action in your life and your parenting techniques, right? That is your first step. So I love that this part is in the book, because we often think, it's hard to change. It's hard to make those changes. But when you acknowledge it, and when you can acknowledge, the stress and the rage and the anger and the anxiety of all the things, when you acknowledge it, that's your first step. And then you just have to take action from there. And then it gives 2 examples of like 2 different scenarios, which I'm not going to read over completely, but I'll just give you a gist because there's some examples later on in the book that I want to read over. So this one is a mom was in a grocery store. The kid was running around the aisles all crazy, and the mom is just like losing her cool. Like, what are you doing? You got to stop doing this. This is so, whatever. Your mom, you've been there, right? Where your kid just isn't behaving in the store. So that's kind of one scenario. And then the second one is the father, the son uses the father's tools, and the father's upset because the son keeps leaving his tools out in the yard, and they get rusted every single time. And so he's not responsible with them. So just kind of keep that in your mind for when we talk about the different scenarios later. To punish or not to punish. Whenever the question comes up in a group, I usually ask, why? Why do we punish? Here are some of the answers parents have given. If you don't punish them, kids will try to get away with murder. Sometimes I get so frustrated that I don't know what else to do. How will my child learn that what he did was wrong and not do it again if I don't punish him? I punish my son because it's the only thing he understands. Then when I ask parents to remember their own feelings when they were punished, I got the following responses. I used to hate my mother. I'd think she's such a bitch, and then I'd feel so guilty. I used to think my father's right. I am bad. I deserve to be punished. I used to fantasize that I'd get very sick, and then they'd be sorry for what they did to me. I remembered thinking, they're so mean. I'll fix them. I'll do it again. Only next time, I won't get caught. The more their parents talked, sorry, you guys, my connection keeps going out. Please let me know if it's kind of fuzzy for you guys. I'm going to see if I can just take a quick second to switch over my networks here. Okay, bear with me. Okay, let's go ahead and try this one here. So I just switched over to, on my Wi-Fi networks for you guys. I remember thinking, they're so mean. I'll fix them. I'll do it again, and only next time I won't get caught. The more these parents talked, the more aware they became that punishment could lead to feelings of hatred, revenge, defiance, guilt, unworthiness, and self-pity. Nevertheless, they still worried. If I give up punishment, won't I be putting my child in the driver's seat? I'm afraid of losing my final method of control and leaving myself powerless. I understood their concerns. I remember asking Dr. Ganot, at what point is it all right to punish a child who ignores or defies you? Shouldn't there be consequences for a child who misbehaves? He answered that a child should experience consequences of his misbehavior, but not punishment. He felt that in a caring relationship, there was no room for punishment. I pressed him further. But suppose a child continues to disobey you. Isn't it all right to punish him then? Dr. Ganot said that the problem with punishment was that it didn't work, that it was a distraction, that instead of the child feeling sorry for what he had done and thinking about how he can make amends, he becomes preoccupied with revenge fantasies. In other words, by punishing a child, we actually deprive him of the very important inner process of facing his own misbehaviors. This way of thinking, that punishment doesn't work because it's a distraction, was very new to me, but it left me with another question. What could I do instead? And I think that that's where we get lost as parents. If we think that we can't use punishment, or we understand that punishment is a distraction, it doesn't work, what else can we do? And I completely feel, some of these parents' responses of I remember wishing that I'd get sick so that they felt so sorry for punishing me. Or I'll be so mean, I'll fix them. I'll hide from them next time so I won't get caught, or I'll do it a sneakier way next time so I won't get caught. And kids do that. Remember, like, if you think about your childhood and growing up, and when you would get punished for something, what was your reaction to that, right? What were the things that went on through your mind? And so alternatives to punishment, and they have 7 here, is point out a way to be helpful, express strong disapproval without attacking their character, state your expectations, show the child how to make amends, offer a choice, take action, and allow the child to experience the consequences of his misbehavior. And then, like, I love this book. I've already showed you guys this before in the previous chapters, how they have all of these lovely comic strips, which really can give you that visual, and I just really love it. So I'm going to read over these for you. And so this is the mom in the supermarket scenario that I talked about earlier. So alternatives to punishment. And number 1 was point out a way to be helpful. So instead of, oh, you're going to get it when your father gets home, you can point out a way to be helpful. It would be really helpful if you picked out 3 big lemons for us, right? So when the child's, running around and being really busy, point out a way to be helpful. Try that. See how that works for you. Instead of, you're acting like a wild animal, no TV for you tonight. And I'm so guilty for that, right? How many times have I said, and Matt and I laughed about this. I was reading this to him the other night and we laughed at this and he's like, guilty. Yeah, we've totally done that. Express strong disapproval without attacking their character. You can say something like, I don't like what's going on here. It's disturbing to shoppers when children run in the aisle, right? So express that strong disapproval. The next one is state your expectations or offer a choice. If I catch you running again, you're going to get a smack. So offer the choice. Billy, no running here. You have 2 choices. You can walk or you can sit in the cart. You decide. And if they're not going to decide there, you take action or remove or restrain. So instead of you ask for it and giving them a smack, you can say, I see you decided to sit in the cart, right? But suppose he behaves so badly that mother is forced to leave the store. What then? On the following day, without lecturing or moralizing, she can let him experience the consequence or the misbehavior. And so by experiencing that, this is how they have it laid out. Mommy, where are you going? Shopping. I want to go. Not today. Why not? Well, you tell me. Because I ran around in the store. You guessed it. I'm sorry. Give me another chance. There will be plenty of chances, Billy, but today I'm going by myself. So they're able to experience that consequence. And I've utilized this with my kids and TV. So this has been a big challenge in our home. TV has been a big challenge for us. And so during the week, we're really trying to be mindful of how much TV time that they get. And so if bedtime does not go smoothly in our house, then the next night, it might be 1 show instead of 3, right? Or no shows. And when they come home from school and we say to them, or the TV doesn't get turned on, or we don't allow the TV to get turned on. Oh, well, why not? Why can't the TV get turned on? Well, why do you think? Because bedtime didn't go very well last night. Exactly. So we'll try again tonight with bedtime and we'll see what we can do tomorrow, right? So we've definitely used that and it's worked in our favor for sure. Express your feelings strongly. So this is the dad and the son leaving his saws out. Express your feelings strongly. I'm furious that my new saw was left outside to rest in the rain. I expect when my tools are borrowed that they be returned promptly and in good condition. And then you can also show your child how to make amends. What this saw needs now is a little TLC, wool and a lot of elbow grease, and a light coat of oil when you're finished will protect it for the future. And then it says the kid says, I'll do it now. For many children, any of these approaches would be enough to encourage them to act more responsibly. But suppose that your child continues to borrow and forgets. You can offer a choice. You can borrow my tools and return them, or you can give up the privilege of using them. You decide. And if he still continues, take action. Okay, you guys need to honestly remember taking action is a big part, and taking action not in a punishment way, but the consequences, right? Dad, your toolbox is locked. That's right. For the time being, I need to know my tools are exactly where I left them, right? And that's the end of that. And then there's a really nice story. Again, I'm not going to go, I don't want to take up all of your guys' time, so I want to make sure that I honor that. So I'm not going to read through this story, but it is about a boy who is coming home late after playing with his friends after school. Every single night, he comes home late, he misses his supper, his mother worries. And so they try to figure out ways to support that problem. So when the problem persists, we can usually assume that it's more complex than it originally appeared. For a complex problem, a more complex skill is needed. Parent educators, labor negotiators, marriage counselors have worked out some excellent detailed methods for resolving difficult conflicts. Here's the version that I presented to the group. To problem solve. Step 1, talk about the child's feelings and needs. Step 2 is talk about your feelings and needs. Step 3 is brainstorm together to find a mutually agreeable solution. Step 4 is write down all the ideas without evaluating. And step 5 is decide which suggestions you like, which you don't like, and which you plan to follow through on. So again, it's talking about a mom whose son is, and I'll kind of read through the skit for you guys, whose son is coming home really late after playing with his friends at school. So problem solving, let's go through the steps. Step 1, talk about your child's feelings and needs. I've been thinking that it probably isn't easy for you to leave your friends when you're having fun. And the boy says, yeah. And then it says, step 2, talk about your feelings and needs. On the other hand, I worry when you're late. Then step 3, brainstorm to find a mutually agreeable solution. Let's put our heads together and see if we can come up with some ideas that would be good for both of us. And then the next step is write down all ideas without evaluating. And so it's, I'll write down, or the boy says, I'll come home at 6:30 and you won't worry. The mom says, I'll write that down. What else? And then it's decide which suggestions you like, which you don't like, and which you plan to follow through on. And so they have a list, and she says, now let's look at our list and see what we want to cross out and what we want to keep. And he had said, cross out where you pick me up. And so then there is a really nice section here that they have a script, kind of like a role-playing script. So I encourage you guys, you know what, I'll actually just take the time right now to read over that with you because I really do like that. So this is the role-play script, and I'll do it the best as I can with me by myself. Okay. Bobby, there's something I'd like to talk about. Is it a good time for you? And he looks at her. It's okay. What is it? It's about the business of getting home on time for dinner. Well, I told you, I've been trying, but I always have to leave when we're right in the middle of a game. Oh, and remember you guys using the one words, the simple words. Oh my gosh, it works so good. I do it with my girls all the time now, and they just like spill all the things to me. So she says, oh, and he says, nobody else has to go as early as me. Nobody. And I have to keep asking everybody at the time because my stupid watch is broken. And they always tell me to shut up, pest. Oh, well, that can hurt. Yeah, then Kenny calls me a baby. That too? So what I hear you saying is that you're under a lot of pressure from the other kids to stay. That's right. Bobby, do you know how it is from my point of view? Yeah, you want me home on time. Well, that's part of it, but mainly I worry when you're late. Well, then don't worry. I wish I didn't. Look, let's put our heads together and take a fresh look at the problem and see whether we can come up with some ideas that would be good for both of us. And then the mom takes out a pencil. You start. Well, I'll come home late, but you won't worry. All right, I'll write that down. What else? Well, I don't know. Hey, I have a thought. I can come to the playground and pick you up. No, that's no good. We're writing down all the ideas. Later we'll decide which we like and which we don't like. What else? I guess I could get my watch fixed. She writes, get watch fixed. Anything else? Why do we always have to eat together? Can't we just leave my dinner for me? Can't you just leave my dinner for me? She writes, leave dinner. The days are getting longer now. I suppose we could have dinner 15 minutes later. Only 15 minutes? You'd like it to be more? Any ideas, or should we look at our list now and see what we want to cross out and what we want to keep? Let's look. Possible solutions. Bobby comes home late. Mother doesn't worry. Pick up Bobby at playground. Get watch fixed. Leave dinner in oven. Eat 15 minutes later. Bobby says, cross out where you pick me up every day. Kenny would really tease me if you did that. Okay. Well, I'll have to cross out come home late because the fact is I do worry. But let's look at the next one. I suppose I could move dinner to 6:15. Would 15 extra minutes help? Just a second, you guys. I'm going to take you with me because my dog needs to come up. Come on up. Okay. Set you back down here. No. So, would 15 extra minutes help? No. Well, maybe a little. And I suppose I could leave dinner in the oven for you occasionally if I knew ahead of time. Yeah, and leave and get watch fixed. Well, the problem with that is that it's the second time the watch has been broken, and I think I'd resent having to pay for the repairs again. I have money saved, almost $4. Would that be enough to get it fixed? Not really, but it would certainly help. I suppose Dad and I might pay the rest. I'll be careful, I swear. I'll take it off if me and Kenny do arm wrestling, and I'll look at it while I'm playing, so I know when to leave. You will? Well, let's see what we've decided so far. I'll move dinner up to 6:15. That'll give you 15 extra minutes to play. We'll put your money together and get your watch repaired. And occasionally, if you let me know in advance, I can keep your dinner warm for you. How does all that hit you? Good. And so that's kind of like the role play session. And I really love that they have a lot of role play in this book because you can really put yourself in its shoes, right? In the scenario and situation. So then it says, at the next session, everyone immediately asked Bobby's mother, did you try problem solving? What happened? She smiled and told us that she had tried it the same night and that Bobby was intrigued with the idea. It was almost funny, she said. What our whole discussion boiled down to was that he hated wearing a watch, but that if the family could eat 15 minutes later, he'd listen for the 6 o'clock whistle from the firehouse, and that would be his signal to start for home. And so far, he's kept his word. How awesome is that? So it doesn't sound too hard, does it? But it is. And the hardest part is not the learning of the separate steps. With a little study, it can be accomplished. The hardest part is the shift we have to make in our attitude. We have to stop thinking of the child as a problem that needs correction. We have to give up the idea that because we're adults, we always have the right answer. We have to stop worrying that if we're not tough enough, the child will take advantage of us. It requires a great act of faith to believe that if we take the time to sit down and share our real feelings with a young person and listen to his or her feelings, that together we'll come up with a solution that will be right for the both of us. I love this. I love it so much. It honestly, the whole open communication is huge, and it honestly brings like swells to my face and makes me tear up, because being able to have conversation and talk with my daughter and having that open communication and like understanding each other's feelings has been huge for our relationship and for our family dynamic. I'm gonna cry. I don't want to cry. But it literally has, and it's made such a positive impact in everything. There's an important message built into this approach. It says, when there is conflict between us, we no longer have to mobilize our forces against each other and worry about who will emerge victorious and who will go down in defeat. Instead, we can put our energy into searching for the kinds of solutions that respect both of our needs as individuals. You guys, we are all individuals, right? We all have different needs. We are teaching our children that they needn't be our victims or our enemies. We are giving them the tools that will enable them to be active participants in solving the problems that confront them, now, while they're at home, and in the difficult, complex world that awaits them. You guys, I love this. It just like literally brings so much emotion to my face right now. This is where I feel it. We are giving them the tools. I'm going to read this part again. We are giving them the tools that will enable them to be active participants in solving the problems that confront them, now, while they're at home, and in the difficult, complex world that awaits them. Huge. Oh my gosh, I love this. Isn't that what it's about? Like raising kids to be like successful in this world, to be able to kind of have their own mindset and think for themselves and be amazing, right? Not raise them to feel small and allow them to have their voice, and encouraging them. And yeah, anyways, so a quick reminder, just got all emotional there for a second. Instead of punishment, express your feelings strongly without attacking their character. I'm furious that my new saw was left outside to rust in the rain, right? Allowing them to understand how you're feeling and be strong and authoritative with that, but don't attack their character. State your expectations. I expect that my tools to be returned after they've been borrowed. Show the child how to make amends. What this saw needs now is a little steel wool and a lot of elbow grease. Offer a choice. You can borrow my tools and return them, or you can give up the privilege of using them. You decide. Take action. Child, why is the toolbox locked? Father, you tell me why. Problem solve. What can we work out so that you can use my tools when you need them? And so that I'll be sure that what can we work out so that you can use my tools when you need them, and so that I'll be sure they're there when I need them? And that's going through like the problem solving steps, which I love. Just a couple more things, and then I will leave you guys with that. Punishment is a very ineffective method of discipline. For punishment, strangely enough, often has the effect of teaching the child to behave in exactly the opposite way from the way we want him to behave. Many parents use punishment simply because no one has ever taught them better ways of disciplining their children. Right? Confused and bewildered parents mistakenly hope that punishment will eventually bring results without realizing that they're actually getting nowhere with their methods. The use of punishment only helps the child to develop a greater power of resistance and defiance. And these are just quotes from different experts and different books. So the first one was from How to Father by Dr. Fitzhugh Dodson. And the other one was Children, the Challenge by Rudolph Durkins. Then I'm just going to go over this with you guys, and I'll leave you with that. Before you begin to ask yourself, am I still seething with emotion, or am I calm enough now even to begin this whole process with the problem solving? Check out your child's mood. Is this a good time for you to talk? If yes, then you talk about the child's feelings. Things like, I imagine you're feeling X, Y, and Z, and you don't want to rush this part. Let your attitude be, I'm really trying to get clear on how you feel about all of this. Only when the child feels heard and understood will she be able to consider your feelings. Step 2, talk about your feelings. Here's how I feel about this, and keep this part short and clear. It's hard for a child to listen to a parent who goes on and on about his worry, his anger, his resentment. You can use color wheels. That's been a really positive one for our home because it's something that they're learning in school. Layla has taught me that they're learning, like, I'm in the yellow, I'm in the green, I'm in the blue, I'm in the red. And so if she knows that I'm in the red, she knows exactly what that means because of school. You know, this is how I'm feeling right now. I'm in the red. And she can completely understand that. Number 3, invite the child to work on finding a mutual acceptable solution. If possible, let your child come up with the first few ideas. And it's really important to refrain from evaluating or commenting on any of those ideas. The instant you say, well, that's no good, the whole process ends. And you've undone all the work. All the ideas should be welcomed. Number 4, decide what ideas you like, which you don't like, and which ideas you want to put into action. So watch out for put down statements like, that's a dumb idea. Instead, describe your personal reactions. So like, I wouldn't be comfortable with that because, or that sounds like something I could do. And number 5, follow through. The danger here is getting so carried away with your good feelings at having come up with a workable solution that you don't bother to make a specific plan to follow through. It's important to add, what steps do we have to take to get this plan into motion, or who will be responsible for what, or by when shall we have it done? Number 6, don't permit the child to blame or accuse you at any point. So the child could say something like, yeah, but that wouldn't work because you always ... or you never. It's important that the parent be firm with this when this happens. And the parent can say something like, no accusations or talk about the past. What we're trying to do now is focus on a solution for the future. And then suppose we go through, I like this one too. So suppose we go through all the steps and still don't come up with a solution we can both agree on. What then? That can happen, but nothing has been lost. By discussing the problem, each of you has become more sensitive to the other's needs. In a difficult situation, this is often the best that can be hoped for. And sometimes it's just a matter of needing more time to think, to let the beans cook before a solution can be reached. Anyways, you guys, so that's what I have for you with chapter 3 on how to talk so kids will listen, and listen so kids will talk. I am so thankful for this book. If you want to grab your own copy, you can click the link to go through my website, and that is to get it off of Amazon. It's the cheapest place I found it. You can maybe ask a friend to see if a friend has the book, or see if your local library has it, that you can take it out. Otherwise, coming on here every single week, Thursdays, I'll be going over each chapter, kind of hitting the points, and I think that you're going to learn something regardless if you have the book or not. And keep on following along, because throughout the week I kind of give some more just little blurbs and information about maybe some of the things that parents have said in here, or different little tips that I have found in each chapter. So anyways, you guys, that's what I have for you today. I hope you have the best day, and I hope that going forward you can take some action and execute some of these ideas. See ya.